Hi, welcome to Release Your Wings. I'm Keith Woods from the Poynter Institute, and I'm here with Shireen Chada, Director of Tampa Brahma Kumaris. We're having our second conversation about power, and today we're talking about the power of tolerance. Tolerance, like power, has its own definitions, a number of definitions. And you make some immediate distinctions between what you call grin and bear it tolerance and something else. What are the differences?
Tolerance in this culture, actually in any culture, has a negative connotation. Like racial tolerance. It's like you just tolerate something. But tolerance, I feel, actually also has grades. There are 3 grades of tolerance. And when I'm talking about tolerance, we are actually referring to spiritual tolerance. And the 3 grades of tolerance are, you have this whole grin and bear it kind of attitude that you just bear it. And then there is the second one where you adapt to a situation and you learn and grow from the situation. And then there's a third one where you sail through a situation that you don't even realize you're tolerating something, that it's so easy that you just go through a situation.
And one assumes from that that the preferable end is the last one.
Because it's more enjoyable.
Right.
Yes.
But I find for myself that I spend most of my time in the first one, which is just trying to get through this one. Grin and bear it, make it through, don't blow up, don't let it upset me too much. And I can see why one would be preferable to the other, but I don't often see a path from one to the other. And frankly, the grin and bear it gets me through. It's manageable. It's hard to even figure out a reason to change.
There is a very good reason to change. I feel my policy in life, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned to you before, but it's not what we are suffering that we lose out on, but what we are not enjoying, what we lose out on. And so if you are grinning and bearing a particular situation, you're losing out on enjoying that situation. So you're losing out on life, on happiness in that particular moment, and there is a possibility for that happiness in that particular moment. And that's what you get with developing the spiritual power of tolerance.
Well, sailing through a situation when you're locked in it, you don't exactly have an easy way of physically removing yourself, and sometimes not even psychologically removing yourself from it. So it's harder to do anything other than grin and bear it. That's a pretty good description of a lot of circumstances, whether it's a problem with a child or a problem with a coworker. Let me just try to get through this one.
The power of tolerance can also be called the power to give. And in our meditation, we actually show this power, and we depict this power as there's a tree, and the tree has a lot of fruit, and then there's a little boy throwing stones at the tree, and the tree is still bowing down and giving fruit. And so it actually might seem like a disadvantage, or someone's taking advantage of the tree, even though it's being thrown and it's bowing down and giving fruit. But what I've noticed in life is only when you give do you receive. And so when you develop the power of tolerance, you really receive a lot. And especially when you develop the power of tolerance sail through something. And so that's actually just one of the grades. You can, like any school grade, like you can progress to a higher grade if you get on a fairly simple practice of centering yourself, of making sure that you get in touch with who you are, what's going on with your life, that you can actually progress through those grades.
Well, the challenge is to figure out how to get out of the moment that you're in, and move toward this idea of giving. but also to try to figure out what it is that I would be giving at all in a moment in which I'm in conflict with someone else.
I feel when you're in conflict with someone else, there's always that people who come into your life, they always, every one of us, we are dependent on each other, and there are always people that can use something from you. They can use a virtue, they can use a quality, they can use a kind word, they can use all of those things. And many times, let's say you're grinning and bearing it, someone, let's say your coworker is really having a fit about something, and you're just grinning and bearing it. The fit, I feel, is just like a facade. It's like a kind of a message that they want something else. And so if you go deeper, and I really feel that's what tolerance does, is on a higher grade that you can actually go deeper in what people need. And then you learn to give that. And so it might actually be hard to learn to give that initially, because at one point you really want to sit in your own state of thing and say, I'm not going to give it to him even though he needs it, because he's being such a, you know, cantankerous person. So, but you can actually do it, but you have to go deeper. And what does he need?
Well, but that seems to me to require a level of psychology that I may or may not have. I may not be able to figure it out as I'm sitting here listening to you, what the thing is that you might need right now, and then figure out whether I have it to give.
With the power of silence, that there is some silence in meditation, I feel it's not at level, it's not necessarily psychology, but things automatically just come to you of what you need to give. It's not that you're sitting there and trying to figure people out, or trying to put them in a box, or you know what they need, or things like that. There is a sense of, you just know, there's a knowing that comes because your mind is in silence, because your mind is not trying to take from the person, and that knowing actually happens.
It feels very, very counterintuitive, like a lot of the things that we talk about, that in that moment, when I am trying to just get through the moment, that the thing that I would do then is give.
That's when you need to give, actually.